Hey out there. This is September 5th, 2015. And it's about 9:20 West Coast time here in Northern California. And today I wanted to talk about this, the growing tyranny-induced state of fear and loathing that humanity at large, collectively, is being forced to experience. And I say forced because all our problems can be traced to social economic issues. That's why I'm always getting into economic issues, because it's really plain and simple. The way that a people are oppressed is through economic, is through financial means. This is the primary, most effective way, hands down, that we can be oppressed, repressed, and this is what is known as tyranny. And it's really very simple to understand these things, but it seems like it goes over the heads of a lot of people. And the reason that economics can appear to be difficult to understand is because they are convoluted on purpose. And the people running things really don't like you to understand things. They want you confounded, they want you confused, because when you're confused about issues, you're in a state of disempowerment. And you're unsure, you're uncertain, you lack confidence, you just don't know. You don't have the power of knowledge. Like they say, knowledge is power. And the people running our lives want to reserve some power that is exclusive to them, that they feel like they're privileged for whatever reason in their sick, twisted, perverted minds to behold knowledge that the masses just don't have with certainty. We can have that knowledge, but it's in an undercurrent. It's in the sense that, well, it's not accepted in the mainstream as knowledge and understanding. It's more of a conspiracy theory, for instance, that JFK, for example, was going to abolish the Federal Reserve Bank, was already issuing a substitute currency that was going to supplant the Federal Reserve notes, known as silver certificates or silver notes. And the American people were taking very well to this idea of sound currency versus this unsound currency that was being manufactured by the Federal Reserve Bank, which is, of course, no more federal in terms of being governmental than the Federal Express Delivery Service. So you understand that the stakes are exceedingly high when it comes to maintaining power. That if the evildoers ever allow any appreciable time for sound currency to take root in a nation, because if you look at a nation as a microcosm of what's going on internationally in the economic, financial world, then you understand that, even though America is a big country with over 300 million people, still it's a microcosm in terms of the international population and all the countries on the face of the earth. But if they allow sound currency to take root in one nation, then what happens is it's a shining light example of how to attain sound currency in other nations. And the problem with allowing sound currency, which is basically, it has to do with capitalism, it has to do with free market, it has to do with supply and demand, it has to do with competition, it has to do with capital risk. what happens is gradually, rather than having a disparity, a growing wealth disparity, you have a shrinking wealth disparity. In other words, you have a much more fair, equitable economy where the people are happy and feeling prosperous and secure and free. Because a lot of understanding economics is the correlation between freedom and liberty and things like security. These things all mesh and come together at some point. And it has to do with our overarching sense of happiness and peace of mind and contentment. And humans, being very dynamic creatures, are nevertheless, we're two-faced creatures. And we have a carnal, self-interested side that's seeking things like pleasure and self-satisfaction, the decadent side, the animal nature, carnal nature. And then we have the spiritual side that is seeking for just being happy and seeking truly valuable things. We want joy and peace of mind. We want these things not just for ourselves when we're in our spiritual mind. That is our right mind. We understand that we must want the same things for others that we want for ourselves. We see this as the only right path, the true path to happiness, is one that encompasses all human beings on the face of the earth. It cannot be something that we want for ourselves that's exclusive to ourselves, that we are privileged to, and we are special. We will never find happiness. Deep down in our heart and soul, our spirit and our mind, we know these things intuitively, instinctively. So we've got to understand that we've got literally like a battle going on within our own members. And the first step to becoming victorious in this battle is to understanding, admitting, confessing that it's going on. So you start with yourself, and you derive your perception, your perspective, your paradigm, your reality from an individual point of view. And then you can go out and share it with others and help them to understand it's an individual thing that we're looking at here. But it also embodies the collective of humanity. So it is both. We're living in what is kind of a paradox. But if we understand the ultimate aim, the ultimate goal is happiness worldwide for everybody, for the individual and the collective humanity. This is what we have to fundamentally understand that we're seeking. And anytime we get off track, we have to be honest with ourselves, first and foremost, admit it. We go into prayer, and this is a very personal thing, an individual thing. Like Jesus said, you go in your closet. It's a private thing that only God really understands us and can love us in the way we need to be understood and loved. Our family can't do it, our friends can't do it as much as they would like to, and they try. Only one knows us the way that we need to be known. So this is why it's very personal, it's very individual. But ultimately, if we stay on the right track and we just say, you know what, I know my heart, I know my soul, my spirit, my mind, and I'm going to cherish those things above all else this world can offer me, because I know the things that this world can offer me are only temporal. They're only temporary, and I can never really own anything in this world. I can't even own my own body because it's going to die. It's a mortal body. It's a body of sin and death. And so I don't even get to keep my own body, much less my possessions or my money, my assets, whatever it is you think you have, whatever it is you think you possess, whatever it is you think you own in this world, it's temporary. The things that last are those existential things, those cosmic qualities. The fact that this understanding that we are eternal creatures, that there is a good and loving maker creator, God Almighty, higher power, force for good, whatever you want to call that entity, that is far more intelligent and wise. This is the potter. This is the artist. This is the sovereign. This is our owner. And we should subjugate ourselves willingly and wantingly in order to accept the good things this entity wants to give us, is willing to give us, if we just open our arms and are able to accept those things and then offer them to others. And they don't come with strings attached. They don't come with terms. Basically, the way the relationship is explained in the Bible, the way it's supposed to be is as a friend. You know, this is not a harsh taskmaster we're talking about with these 10 commandments. Do this, don't do that. No, Jesus said, look, if you follow these new commandments, he summed it up like this: to love God above all else as the rightful source of all good things. Every single good quality, characteristic, and attribute comes from above. This understanding that we're deeply and profoundly loved, that this God has numbered the hairs of our head, that this is a worthy God, and it's right that we should love him above all else, because we wouldn't have a brain in our heads, we wouldn't have the ability to think and imagine, we wouldn't have our senses that we all enjoy, we wouldn't have anything that's truly good if it wasn't for this God. So to love God above all else is the right protocol. This is right order of business to do things spiritually. And then beyond that, it's about loving one another. That's it. These 2 commandments supersede all the others. If we could do these 2 things, love one another, that means care about one another. That means treat others the way we want to be treated. This means living by the golden rule. And others means our nemesises, whoever they may be that we perceive, our enemies, whoever they may be that we perceive, because one man's enemy is another man's best friend. And it's our prerogative. It's our choice. It's our right. It's our entitlement to be everybody's friend, to be like Jesus in that sense, and to be on everybody's side. Even that, though at times people need to be corrected in whatever way the Spirit of God puts on our